So in this day in history, June 18th, 2009, a ambiguous and bizarre exclusive came out exactly 9 years ago. So there was a bizarre exclusive that came out called Aveo Swerve. And Aveo Swerve was this weird exclusive that we thought was, I guess, a movie toy. Maybe it was a Generations toy or a Classics toy. And it had a very bizarre way that you were able to get it. And all those bizarre ways to get it always frustrated me because it was like, do I have to go about this route to get it? And at the time, I was a big completist at the time, especially in 2009 during Revenge of the Fallen. And like one of the first ways you were able to get an Aveo Swerve was if you went and into essentially Chevrolet and test drive a Aveo. They would give you an Aveo Swerve, and that was one of the speculated ways you were able to get it. Then there was, around the same time, there was a whole bunch of like websites that were like, I think it was, I want to say from Switzerland or something. Like it was one of the European websites for Chevrolet. They're like, well, you could buy them online here for like €12.80. And I remember me and a friend, a close friend that we both know that isn't even like a big guy in the Transformer fandom. I guess we'll just name him Jeremy here. He was a big Chevrolet fan. He was like, Daniel, you got to hook me up with this Chevrolet Transformer of the Aveo. And like I remember ordering like 4 of these from this European website and then getting like an email from them like a week later going like, yeah, we're not doing this. So the order page was taken down, everything was taken down, all the purchasers never obviously got anything. It was very bizarre. It was very, very bizarre. And then a year, not a year after that, but I'd have to say like 6 months after that, this exact date today, a weird thing happened in Canada, more specifically in the GTA Toronto area. A whole bunch of large shopping malls in the Toronto area, which large malls in the center of the malls, usually they have a display where there's a car or whatever, and a car company just, pimping out their car. Aveo was there with Chevrolet with Aveo and GM were there, and they were essentially had a whole bunch of these swerves here that they got from God knows where. And they were just saying like, hey, if you do this little survey here, we'll give you one of these as a present, right? Now, the information about this, because I know the whole story with this, and Wendell knows the real story behind this. The information online in relation to this story is a little incorrect. A lot of the information was people were saying like, oh, between June 18th, the date that we're referring to, until August 2nd, 2009, these guys were showing up in all these malls in Ontario, Canada. It was specifically just Toronto, more or less, in the Toronto surrounding area. And they had extremely limited numbers that they were giving out for free. Here's the thing. They didn't have limited numbers. They had about hundreds of these. And a lot of sketchy stuff happened. Essentially, people that we knew managed to make a deal with with the Chevrolet guys and managed to get suitcases of this stuff, essentially. And then we kind of destroyed the market on them. So the reality is there's actually tons of these. Tons and tons and tons of these. And for the longest time, people assumed that this was like a super rare item that you could only get through one source, and they were going as high as 175 on eBay, I remember at one point. But yeah, the point is that ultimately in the end, this thing isn't like super, super rare. And the reality is the market of them has been super saturated because I think it was like by the time BotCon 2010 rolled around, all of them were just, they ended up in like every single parts party. And to give a testament to how common they were, anyone that was part of the TFCon custom class in, I believe it was 2010 or 2011, one of our custom class figures was using the Aveo Swerve. That's how many we had. TFCon itself had, I believe, within TFCon interior, we had 30 spare swerves to use for the custom class, and we made TFCon's Flash based off of the UK Flash character. So if you look up Flash from the UK, that's where that idea came from. And so like everyone who did the TFCon custom class, they had a UK Swerve that they had to paint up into another character. So there was quite a plentiful amount of these in Canada, and honestly they're still kicking around all over the place. Now, honestly, I don't expect someone to pay maybe more than $30 for it. I mean, it's still a unique item that had a very bizarre window of how you got it. But as time progresses, I think that the interest for it has waned quite a bit. And I think,
Yeah, exactly.
anyone who really wanted one at this point got one already. So ultimately, in the end, unless you're like a collector that's
Like, I don't even think the Aveo's in that fleet
oh
anymore
no,
for
yeah,
Chevrolet.
exactly.
Like, they've moved on from that.
So it's something that even if you're a guy who came late to the game and you want to pick up an Aveo Swerve, I mean, it can't be too bad. Actually, right now, let's just check. I'm just going to check eBay right now. Let's see what on average an Aveo Swerve goes for, because again, that market got really saturated afterwards. But let's take a look. Let's see how much you could pay for one right now. Let's crack it up. See, like here, again, as I predicted, you're having some guys buy it now, 35. Some people are asking 100. Some people are asking 59, 79, 89. But I mean, the guy who's asking 35, he's a buy it now, and no one's scrambling for it. You know, here's another guy. A guy in Spain is selling one for 35 also. You know, there's another guy here that's asking 38. So, I mean, it's all over the place. But that being said, I mean, I don't expect anyone to pay more than, like, let's say 40. Again, this was a toy when people really didn't know how you were going to get it. I mean, there were so many rumors. Some people were saying you have to buy an Aveo to get one.
Oh, yeah.
You know, some people were saying you have to test drive it. No, you have to order it from Chevrolet's website. And then ultimately, in the end, it was just a thing that was given out by the hundreds, and then just ended up in the hands of some collectors in Canada. And then those collectors just spread it across, you know, the internal fandom. And then the rest was history. So I mean, whatever. It's an interesting piece of Transformers lore, and an interesting toy. And to this day, still has one of the most ambiguous ways that you could get it, as opposed to just going to a convention or a mail-away exclusive. So it's not crazy hard to get, but at the same time, it wasn't the easiest thing back then. And then it just became the stupidest easiest thing if you were just part of the right circle. But yeah, really cool toy. Always kind of looked very RoboCop-y to me. I always felt that the face looked a lot like RoboCop. I'm not a fan of the Aveo Swerve as a
Like
car.
Red Alert, like Armada Red Alert.
Yeah,
kind
or
of thing.
Armada Red Alert, yeah. I've never been a fan of the Aveo itself. The car's always been very, you know, late 90s Honda Civic, you know, EK9 chassis, boring, you know, bare basic sedan car, essentially. You know, so something like him, like the robot mode was kind of interesting. The character of Swerve today is more popularly known from the G1 character from the IDW comics and everything. So like the only Swerve people care about today is really that one. So this one, I mean, it's an interesting piece of Transformer history. If you're a latecomer to the collecting game and you're interested to get one, I don't suggest you pay more than $40, or come to TFCon Canada, and I'm pretty sure you're going to find someone who probably still has a bunch that they want to get rid of. But wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But the point is, not me though. The reality is, I got 3 of them. You know what I mean? I got 2 sealed and 1 open. You know, like it's just, and I don't even know. Like I'm looking at the open one and I'm looking at the sealed one right now. It's just, I got 3 of them. Why do I have 3 of them? Well, that's none of your business. But the point is that stuff got saturated like crazy. So I mean, if you're interested in one, hit up some of us. We might be able to direct you in the right direction. And I'm pretty sure the people that are selling it are probably not going to rip you off. And you'll probably get it. When I'm saying 35, I'm saying the American price. I'm pretty sure you could probably get 35 even Canadian for it. But it's, yeah, interesting piece of history 9 years ago today.